All righty, I think that's looking pretty good. I think we will get started. So welcome everybody. Thanks so much for taking the time to join our webinar this morning. Firstly, I'd like to introduce myself. My name's Clinton. I'm the new director for Australia and New Zealand for Brand USA. We're really excited to have you here, bringing you this webinar to enrich your USA knowledge, focusing today on rail offerings. So we've got an hour-long agenda that I'll just run through now so you know what to expect. First, we'll kick it off with some updates from Brand USA, starting with an overview of our tools and some of our resources. Then I'll pass the baton over to Chris David from Rail Bookers for an update on Amtrak. Then Amber Wilson from Rocky Mountaineer will also give you a product update. We'll head into some time for some Q&A for our two panelists. And then we'll run into a quiz at the end, run on the platform called Kahoot. So you don't need to download anything. I'm sure a lot of you have participated in Kahoot before, but just in case, we'll run it right from you can run it right from your desktop, a web browser, or your phone. Nothing to do until the end. But I want to let you know we've got a $200 Visa gift card up for grabs today. So you'll certainly want to hang around in the running for that. Lastly, as mentioned, this session is being recorded and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel after we're done. So if you want to refer back to it or share with a colleague, the link will be sent out following up in our post-webinar communication that you'll receive from us, as well as posted to our Facebook page. Okay, so on to some Brand USA updates. I'll start out with some of our key resources, firstly for travel agents. So the first tool is really our epicenter for all our other resources. Our travel trade website is your first stop for all your USA inquiry. It's the official resource for USA travel trade planning. This is where you'll find inspiration and information to help you book more travel to the US. Here you can browse regional and themed itineraries, beginning in key gateway cities and exploring beyond them to discover both iconic landmarks and hidden gems. The Travel Trade website features many tools such as destination overviews, suggested itineraries like our insider guides, which I'll actually speak to a little more in a moment, images and videos for destinations. There's a series of FAQs, including COVID, visa, transportation info, etc. Lastly, on our Travel Trade website is where our trip planner tool is housed. The Brand USA Discovery Program, I'm sure most of you have heard about this program or have even completed various badges, but for those that haven't, our online training platform is one of a kind. Not only will you become a specialist in specific states or regions, but you'll become part of our community where you can share knowledge, ask questions. It's also how we keep in touch with you and keep you updated about upcoming activity and events. We've got over 60 badges to complete, covering all regions, states, and even some theme badges like our US National Parks badge. The modules are short and sharp, but provide you with an overarching understanding, and you'll feel well prepared to speak confidently with clients when the time is right. What's great about each of the badges is that once you complete it, each of the little specialist badge icons are downloadable. So if you're creating an itinerary for a client, you can pop a badge icon on your communications to display that you are an expert in that area. This is one of my favorite tools that we have. We share this with video with every presentation because it's just so cool that you have this at your fingertips. Essentially, it generates a day-by-day itinerary that's fully customizable. All you need to do is add the locations that your clients would like to visit, their travel dates, how many people are traveling. You can also preference the type of travelers that they are. So the planner will give you a day-by-day itinerary for clients. It even breaks down hour by hour. Best of all, agents can share it directly with clients. I will show you how this works. So you can see that there's a big trip being planned out. You put in multiple destinations, as many as you want. Then it gives you the option, obviously, then to put dates, so start date and end date, how many people, say 4 travelers, 2 adults, 2 kids. This is the activity preference area I was talking about that you can click, and then literally click and see your plan. So here's a 31-day itinerary for all those destinations that you just plugged in, with some options for day by day, options in each place, and then an hour by hour suggested itinerary in terms of how to connect the cities together or those places together by car. You can also do it by rail options as well. And then you can send it off to your clients directly by email. So it really is a fantastic tool. So the next resource I want to show you is our COVID-19 information page, which lives as a sub page on our Travel Trade website. This page was created to be your go-to guide for all USA travel updates, including updated policy information, helpful government and industry links, and the most up-to-date brand USA research. Here's just a highlight of some of the awesome things you can watch. Two of my favorites are the giant screen films, National Parks Adventure and America's Musical Journey. There are also some really fascinating series like Trails and Trailblazers, following trailblazers in science, history, exploration to unexpected places around America. And also Black Voices, which celebrates the rich and diverse Black culture in the US, like hearing from Spike Lee in New York City. So staying connected with you, our travel agent community, is a key objective for Brand USA. One way that we're continuing to do this is via our Travel Trade Facebook page. Facebook is a great way to keep track of people even after their emails bounce. Our AU and NZ pages are a resource mostly for frontline agents, but also the wider industry to stay informed about upcoming Brand USA activity and also be inspired for future personal or client holidays. We'd love to stay in touch with you via this platform. So if you're keen, we encourage you to head to Facebook, search Brand USA Travel Trade New Zealand or Brand USA Travel Trade Australia and request to join the group. Brand USA's global marketplace is an always-on virtual platform that provides access to a diverse range of US destinations, attractions, and points of interest for the travel industry. Think of it as a one-stop shop for you to interact with US travel partners, providing access to a diverse range of US destinations, attractions, and points of interest for the industry. A reimagined version of traditional trade shows and industry events, the digital platform solves the need for US travel community to engage with global tourism industry, whilst international travel is limited due to the impacts of COVID, although not so much now, which is actually great news. This platform will further Brand USA's efforts to reinvigorate US tourism as the world recovers. Featuring 5 portals, each designed for virtual exploration of the 50 states, 5 territories, and the District of Columbia, Brand USA Global Marketplace provides registered users with travel itineraries, destination marketing collateral, and insights from industry experts. The main stage serves as a place for educational seminars, while the USA Partner Pavilions, featuring geographically driven partner pods representing the entirety of the US, and Buyer Pavilion will facilitate one-to-one meetings. In the networking lounge, participants will have the opportunity to engage outside of scheduled sessions. Video on demand allows for self-guided discovery with 3 screens showing a variety of travel, entertainment, educational, and featured programming. So by registering for this event, your company has been added to the buyer list, and it means you can contact US destinations and suppliers. So the platform's available 24/7. Content is both evergreen and refreshed. There's a virtual room accessed from the lobby, USA Partner Pavilions for exhibitors, Buyer Pavilion and the Buyer Directory. There's a main stage, which is for programming and enrichment, video on demand, as I mentioned, and on and off platform marketing. Partners may include destinations, attractions, hotels, car rentals, sponsors, airlines, etc. Note the directory at the top left of the nav bar will tell you all the USA partners that are part of the global marketplace, categorized by state, east to west, and by business sector. Features for an exhibitor pod include a Connect Here email feature, videos, logo, which is a link to their website, 2 images plus social media links. There's a fishbowl, which is an exchange of virtual business cards, and collateral can be downloaded into a virtual briefcase. So that gives you a really good understanding of a lot of the really useful tools that we have available on the Brand USA Travel Trade website. So now I actually wanted to focus a little bit on our insider guides. So these guides allow you to access customizable self-drive itineraries or rail itineraries to suit your client's needs. You can download them via the Travel Trade site, and the product and tours are bookable through major Australia and New Zealand wholesalers. For instance, this one I'm talking about today, we have Canyons, Mesas, and Hoodoo's Insider Guide. So on the first page, you'll have a really cool map with all the places that we're going to visit on the trip. Then there'll be a page-by-page itinerary, where to go and what to visit. I'm just going to skim over this so you get the idea of how they work. In this self-drive itinerary, we start in Las Vegas. Then you drive to Bryce Canyon National Park. This natural landscape sits below the rim tail hiking path and is filled with hoodoos. Then you drive from Bryce Canyon National Park to Moab, located in the confluence of the Colorado and Green Rivers. Then off to Page, Arizona, which is located on the border of Utah and Arizona, and it's the gateway to Lake Powell, popular for houseboating, fishing, kayaking, and rafting. From Page, Arizona, you can continue driving to Zion National Park, which is famous for its steep red cliffs, canyons, and towering rock formation, as well as cascading waterfalls and rivers. If your clients would prefer to explore this area by rail, Amtrak has train options available. Chris from Rail Bookers will be providing you more information on how your clients can do so. But before we have a presentation from Chris, there's one more new resource that I'd like to introduce you to. It's called What to See and Do Across the USA. This calendar of events provides a snapshot of the key happenings across the United States for the next 3 months, focusing on new transport routes, new hotel openings, festivals, sporting events, upcoming films and TV shows. In addition to nationwide events, the calendar is divided into 5 geographical regions: the Northeast, the Midwest, the South, the West, and the US territories. We wanted the calendar to be both both a valuable resource and a source of inspiration. The calendar will be updated every 3 to 4 months, and our hope is that you could share this valuable information with your clients. You can download the What to See and Do Across the US document via our travel trade site or via the Gate 7 Resource Center. Okay, enough of me. So I'm super excited to have 2 guests presented for today's webinar. I would first like to turn it over to Chris David. So Chris is the VP of Sales at Rail Bookers. He's based in the US, and Chris has graciously agreed to join us this evening. So good evening, Chris, and thanks for joining us today.
Hi there, Clinton. Thank you so much. Good morning to you. It's about 8 o'clock in the evening here where I am. I'm just figuring out how to take over the reins here, so bear with me just a second.
You're the host. You should be able to share now, Chris.
There we go. I think we have my screen. Great. You guys confirm that you have my screen up? Excellent. Well, thanks, everybody. Great to be on with you. My name's Chris David. I'm the Vice President of Sales in Canada up here for Amtrak Vacations and Rail Bookers. I oversee the Canadian market, and very happy to have the chance to be kind of guest hosting the presentation for you all today. As you can hear, I'm a SAFR, 25 years living in Toronto. What I'm going to focus on with the presentation this morning, is the US National Parks. Amtrak Vacations is a rail specialist tour operator that, together with our sister brand Rail Bookers, really covers destinations worldwide. Amtrak Vacations is the official tour operator for Amtrak, and we have a huge portfolio of products and a huge range of different kinds of options to travel by train and explore the US, the lower 48, independently by train. But I figure since I only have 10 minutes, I want to hone it down to really the most relevant, and that is the national parks. There is an historic connection between rail and the US national parks, with the railroads that were built in the 19th and early 20th century, in many cases intimately connected with the national parks, bringing tourism into these iconic national park destinations like the Grand Canyon and Glacier National Park. Amtrak Vacations, again, we partner directly with Amtrak. We have access to the entire Amtrak route network, which includes 500 stations across the US. So in addition to the national park packages that I'll be showing you in just a moment, you can customize any of our trips to include any of those 500 stations, and you can find product that focuses on overnight rail journeys into iconic city destinations like Seattle, San Francisco, Chicago, New Orleans, or indeed As you'll see in just a moment, we have 18 different national park destinations that you can explore traveling by rail. A huge takeaway for the presentation tonight is our ability at Amtrak Vacations to book 2 years in advance. This is quite unusual for rail. Very often there are sort of limitations in terms of when the rail can be ticketed in some destinations. We give you this ability to lock in the rate with a deposit of just $250 per person and book in advance right for a journey into, the middle of 2024. There you have a nice infographic that shows the national park destinations that we service at Amtrak Vacations. 18 different national parks across the country, a concentration in the West, but also some fantastic, very popular and iconic national parks in the East Coast, like the Great Smoky Mountains, and many others. Our mission at Amtrak Vacations and Rail Bookers is to make it easy for you as travel agents to work with rail. Traditionally, rail has been a category, with independent travel. I think it's different when it comes to Rocky Mountaineer. My esteemed colleague Amber, who's going to be talking to you in just a moment, they're a specialized rail operator, absolutely fantastic and very, very easy to work with. But when we're talking about using public rail in the US, Canada, or Europe, traditionally it hasn't been that easy to book. And this is where we come in with the expertise, the knowledge, and all of the resources to make it easy and lucrative for you to make independent arrangements for your clients, FIT using rail. We pay 12% commission, by the way, which, in the past, if you book Amtrak directly, there is no commission. We have a huge variety of products, national parks, city getaways, overnight rail, all kinds of options for train enthusiasts and people who just want to really take in the vastness and diversity of the US, and everything's customizable. You can alter our itineraries to suit your client's specific requirements. You'll see a lot of ready-made products on our website, packages featuring the national parks and other destinations. Bear in mind, this is all FIT. These are not group tours or set departure dates. You can add destinations, add additional nights, add in a rail journey going to any town in the US that your clients may be interested in visiting. You can add in sightseeing options. You can change your hotel accommodation, choosing between 3, 4, and 5-star options on every night of the trip. So really, the sky's the limit when it comes to being able to customize and have that flexibility. With rail travel, packing is not a problem. You can take 2 large suitcases, and with Amtrak, you can check your bags 45 minutes prior to departure. Very different from European rail travel, where you are kind of responsible for taking your bags on and off the train. Let me give you some examples of some of these packages, particularly focusing on the US national parks. We have several grand national parks itineraries, which are ideal for people who want an epic adventure. They want to take in the US in all its sort of diversity, visiting lots of different destinations, traveling for close to 2 weeks and experiencing the adventure of overnight rail travel. The Grand National Parks packages, there are several variations. Here's one that features Yellowstone and Yosemite in the Grand Canyon, 3 of the most popular and sought after sort of aspirational national park destinations. Yellowstone is an icon, needs very little introduction, absolutely huge national park, larger, by the way, than Rhode Island and Delaware combined. It can be hard to get space in Yellowstone National Park. We have allocations of room inventory in the national park lodges, and so it's a great way to be able to get your clients into Yellowstone, staying right there inside the park in the national park lodges. Yosemite is featured in this itinerary as a day excursion from San Francisco. Yosemite doesn't actually have rail access going right to it, but it's an absolute can't miss national park destination. Magnificent scenery, known for its waterfalls and those iconic rock formations like El Capitan. This journey features iconic rail experiences as well, riding on several different Amtrak overnight Superliner trains. Superliner trains are those very distinctive double-decker Amtrak trains that you may recognize from, marketing materials and from your previous visits to the US, traveling overnight and very often taking in spectacular scenery, such as the Coast Starlight, which travels down the Pacific coast between Seattle and Los Angeles, giving you these amazing sea views en route. We also work very closely with the Grand Canyon Railway, which is an iconic train experience going 2 hours from Williams, Arizona, the gateway to the Grand Canyon on Route 66, right up to the South Rim. It's a 2-hour journey on this historic train going through beautiful scenery of ponderosa pine forests and delivering you right there to the historic village at the South Rim, which sprang up around the turn of the 20th century as tourism was starting there. It's very historic, and there are several lodges right on the rim. El Tovar, that you may have heard of, once referred to as the most glamorous hotel west of the Mississippi, and still the best address at the Grand Canyon. We again hold rooms there. We pay commission on those national park lodges, as well as the rail. A hugely popular national park, just period, but particularly for us at Amtrak Vacations, is Glacier in the Rocky Mountains of northern Montana. It has a rail station right inside the national park, about 200 steps from the main national park lodge. A wonderful experience traveling on the overnight Empire Builder train from Chicago through Glacier National Park. We'll have a 3-day visit over to Seattle. The glass dome panorama cars, or observation cars on the Amtrak trains, are really a front row seat on the best scenery in America. So this is a lovely way for your clients to discover the US in a leisurely fashion, seeing the scenery as they travel between destinations. In Glacier National Park, as with all of our other national park packages, you'll have an included, very comprehensive sightseeing experience with a lake cruise, with a guided excursion on the Going to the Sun Road, which is this incredible highway that bisects the park, going in an historic red jammer bus. These are vehicles that date back to the early days of the National Park Service, and you're going with a national guide, national park ranger, learning all about it. Now down to the Mighty Five. Clinton mentioned this, talking about the hoodoos and mesas. This is a hugely popular area of the US and great to discover by rail. Our Grand National Parks itinerary will take you from Chicago on the overnight train, the California Zephyr, into Grand Junction, Colorado, just past Denver. A magnificent scenery, and you'll hear more about that from Amber, traveling by rail through Colorado from Denver down into Utah. What we do with this itinerary is we've arranged a rental car. You pick up your rental car in Grand Junction, and you have 4 days exploring the Mighty Five. And we've arranged several sightseeing tours and excursions going through arches and canyonlands, and giving you the opportunity to explore Bryce and Zion independently. There's the California Zephyr going, winding in and out of the amazing Rocky Mountain scenery of Colorado. And that's a big part, of the experience with Amtrak Vacations. It's not just the destination, but it's the journey aboard the train as well that really makes it unique and distinctive and memorable for your clients. The Mighty Five of Southern Utah, Arches, Canyonlands, Capitol Reef, Zion, and Bryce, they have similarities, featuring that incredible red rock sandstone scenery and those rock formations, but they're each very distinctive and different. Zion, known for these unbelievable hikes going down to the rock pools and the waterfalls. Capitol Reef actually is famous for its stargazing. They control the ambient lights, reducing light pollution, so you can actually appreciate the magnificent starscapes in the evening. Bryce, of course, with its hoodoos. At the Grand Canyon, we include with all of these packages the Freedom Tour, where you go with a National Park Ranger along the South Rim, learning about all of the canyon and stopping at all the most famous scenic overlooks. A little bit about the experience on board with Amtrak. You can travel in Amtrak in economy, where you have a seat, very large, nice, comfortable reclining seat, However, if you're on an overnight train journey, you're going to want to upgrade your clients to some form of sleeper accommodation, a roomette or a bedroom. In addition to the privacy, you know, that gives you lots of other amenities and benefits like priority separate boarding. But you can overstate, you know, the value of being able to slide the sliding door closed behind you and enjoy the privacy of rail travel in your own compartment. You can bring on your own alcoholic bevies as well if you have a roomette to enjoy privately in your compartment. That's the roomette layout. There's no washroom facility in the cabin. That's private but shared down the hall. However, all your meals, if you're in a bedroom or a roomette, are included. 3 wonderful meals a day, lots of menu choices. If your clients want the privacy of an ensuite washroom, then you'd upgrade them to a bedroom where you have your shower, toilet, and vanity all in the privacy of your compartment, as well as a roomy, you know, love seat and lounge chair that convert into the bunk beds overnight. These can be ensuited 2 side by side with an interleading door for families as well. Travel advisor discount, just very quickly before I conclude. We'd love you to be able to experience any of these journeys, and our travel advisor discount is set up so that you can do so the way your clients do, traveling with your own family and friends. It's available for 4 people on the booking, 20% flat discount off anything that we have for traveling together. Thanks so much, everybody. I hope I haven't exceeded my allotted 10 minutes, but Clinton didn't mute me, so I think I'm all right. And I think we'll go to questions at the end. So what I'm going to do now is hand over the reins to Amber to take you through the amazing Rocky Mountaineer. Let's see if I can figure out how to do it. There we go, participants. Over to you, Amber.
Excellent, thank you. Let me share my screen. There we go. Can everybody see that? Yep. Chris, thumbs up. Thank you. Look, I found that so fascinating, Chris. I really learned a lot from your presentation there. So thank you very much. You know, one of the things that is train travel, and a lot of you would have clients that really love to travel by train. And I know I certainly have fallen in love with train travel, and looking at all of those, I think the beauty is that there's something for everyone in that train travel genre. It's not just a one bucket for everyone. And one of the things I was thinking of is, you know, obviously for us at Rocky Mountaineer, we've got this brand new product, Rockies to the Red Rocks, which we have just launched the preview season last year. But I'm thinking you could get your clients all around the States, and they could come and do and join on. And there's no stopping actually lining them up with Amtrak and Rocky Mountaineer, and really have an amazing trip through the US on train travel all throughout. So thanks, Chris. That was really, really cool. So great to see you. Thank you, Clinton, for having me this morning. And I'd like to spend the time this morning just chatting about the brand new product, Rockies to the Red Rocks. So a lot of you know Rocky Mountaineer from our home in the Canadian Rockies, and we've been up there for over 32 years actually. And one of the really exciting things over COVID is last year we launched this brand new product, which is something that we had been working on for a very, very long time, and it had been in the background, and there was a lot of planning. So we were lucky to be able to open this up last year and launch Rockies to the Red Rocks down in the US, running between Moab in Utah and Denver, Colorado, or vice versa. So guests can travel either eastbound or westbound on this brand new route, and it is 2 days and 1 night. So I'll click through it. I'll just give you a little taste with this video.
As you drift away from the lively city of Denver, the sun wakes the Colorado Rockies, and you begin your journey through landscapes that have been transformed over millennia. And it feels as though it was all created just for you. roaming through breathtaking plains, you reach an engineering marvel known as the Big Ten Curve. Relax in comfort as you cut through 6 miles of hand-blasted rock in the historic MOFFAT Tunnel, where you cross the Continental Divide. Take in majestic canyons, slowly carved away by the Colorado River on its long march to the Pacific Ocean. As you travel along tracks stitched into towering red canyons, indulge in world-class service from our glass dome coaches. Wind along endless, captivating canyon walls before arriving at the historic town of Glenwood Springs, famous for its geothermal amenities. Begin your day exploring the monumental DEBEQUE Canyon, part of Grand Mesa, the world's largest flat-top mountain. Then witness the glory of Mount Garfield. Standing proudly at over 6,700 feet, it's sure to be a high point. The surreal beauty of the crimson-stained cliffs surrounds you, displaying millions of years of erosion as you cross Ruby Canyon. Finally, you approach Moab, as the red sandstone mountains that the American Southwest is so famous for come into view. This is your gateway to the mighty 5 national parks. From the Rockies to the Red Rocks, this ever-changing journey captures the unimaginable majesty of this unique place that's been a million years in the making.
So we've talked a bit about the Mighty 5 national parks, and I was very fortunate enough to have just done this trip a couple of weeks ago, and I can tell you it is an absolutely stunning part of the world, and there is so much to see in those areas, and both in Utah and Colorado. So Rocky Mountaineer, we're a little bit different in that we don't sleep on board the train, and that's exactly the same in the US. So guests will be welcomed on board, and but however, they sleep in a hotel of an evening. So days on board, you are welcomed with your onboard hosts. We have storytellers on board. It is an all daylight sightseeing service. So the idea is you board the train early in the mornings, and you are learning along the way the history of where you're going through, information about the geographical formations, really relevant parts of different the things that you're traveling through. Obviously, all of the man-made areas and the tunnels, which are an amazing feat in themselves. So not only on board Rocky Mountaineer through the day are you being wined and dined with beautiful foods and wines, but you're also learning something as well as you travel throughout the day. In the US, we have 2 styles of carriages down there that your guests can travel in. So we have our Silverleaf, and our Silverleaf is a single level coach. So you still have these amazing panoramic views, huge big windows, so you're not missing any of the sightseeing at all. And the guests will dine seatside, so they will have their meals and their drinks will be brought to their seats while they're traveling, and learning about the history and looking at the amazing sights as they're traveling between Moab and Denver. So here's a shot here of one of our single level Silverleaf domes. And there's pampering in your seat, absolutely non-stop. So one thing with onboard Rocky Mountaineer is that your guests will not go hungry or thirsty throughout the duration of their time on board. And as I said, you have culinary team in every single carriage as well. One of the new things and the different products that we have in the US is SILVERLEAF Plus. And SILVERLEAF Plus is a lounge car. And a lounge car is where guests can go. They can go and sit down in this area. There's music playing in there. They have some enhanced cocktails or drinks that, and food that's available to them if they're traveling in the SILVERLEAF Plus. Now, a lot of you know Rocky Mountaineer very, very well and know that we have gold leaf domes in our fleet. The reason we don't have the gold leaf domes down in the US is purely because of the height of the tunnels down there. So the domes are just too high to be able to accommodate through a lot of the tunnels that we travel through. So there is this SILVERLEAF Plus option for those guests that are wanting to upgrade. Yep. So as I mentioned, we're traveling between Moab in Utah and Denver, Colorado, or vice versa. So guests can travel in either an eastbound or westbound direction. The scenery is absolutely spectacular. About 70% of the journey between the two cities is traveling along the Colorado River. So you really are not short of some amazing scenery from the waterways to the snow-capped mountains in the distance. Denver is a fabulous city. I had not been before, and it's a really, really great vibe. There's some great dining options in Denver. Of course, we have a fantastic airlift out of Australia in and out of Denver. So really great place for guests to either start or finish, or indeed join up with other options and travel experiences that they're doing while they are in the United States. Glenwood Springs is the little town that we stay overnight. So just a reminder, you don't sleep on board the train on board Rocky Mountaineer. Glenwood Springs is your halfway point, and that's where guests will have their accommodation that evening. The beauty of Rocky Mountaineer is guests with their luggage do not have to worry about trawling luggage up and down platforms and stairs and making it very, very easy for them. What we do is their luggage travels before them, and their luggage will actually be in their hotel room when they get to Glenwood Springs. So when your guests check in either Moab or Denver, the guests leave their luggage there. And when they arrive in Glenwood Springs that evening, their luggage will be in their hotel room for them that night. And when they leave the next morning to board the train to continue their journey, they leave their luggage in their hotel room in Glenwood Springs. And again, it will meet them at that evening at their next spot. So the luggage situation is really cared for. So not only are we thinking about all of the beautiful foods and wines your guests are going to experience on board Rocky Mountaineer and the learning that they're going to get from our onboard hosts, but also making sure that their luggage is seamless and easy for them as well. This Glenwood Springs is super, super cute. It is a gorgeous little spot. As I mentioned in the video, they've got the hot water springs right at the foot of the mountains there, and some really great little bars and restaurants and cafes in the area. And Moab. So Moab can again be either the start or the finish of people's journey in Utah. And here is the gateway for all of those national parks that we've been learning about in the presentation. Great little, really, really fun little town, little city, I guess. Some really great parts of Moab and a really fun place to start or finish. Getting guests to or from Moab, we find that that travelers are going either in or out of Salt Lake City or Las Vegas. We do have options for them to add on transfers or tours from Salt Lake down to Moab, or we offer a flight seeing service actually from Las Vegas. So if your guests are in Vegas, we have a flight seeing tour, which is ticks both boxes, one getting them from Vegas down into Moab, but also a flight seeing some amazing scenery along the way. So Rocky Mountaineer, we travel between April and October is the seasons that we travel. We don't travel in the winter time, so we are those warmer months, just because we are an all daylight sightseeing service, and the winter months are just getting a little bit darker, but they're the main months that we travel in. No best time, but of course in the summer months it can be quite warm down there as well. And some amazing wildlife, which is something that's really important to our guests as well. They really love not only the wining and dining, but the wildlife that you'll see along the way. So we do have some fantastic packages available, some amazing sights to be seen along this area. It truly is spectacular. This is the one I talked about just before with the flight seeing. And that's us. I'll say thank you there. But I think we'll hand over, and if there's, I'll stop sharing. Oh, hang on, I'll hand back to Clinton, who's in charge from here.
Thanks so much, Amber. If you can make me host again, that would be terrific.
Will do.
While you're doing that, there are a few questions. So first of all, thanks again, Amber and Chris. That was fantastic. Really appreciate it. By the looks of the comments and some of the questions, a lot of our travel agent partners out there agree it was a terrific update. So there are a few little questions, if that's okay, guys. I will scroll through the list. The first one is such great info. This is for Chris. Does all of the info that you shared today, all of that shown on the website? And what is the best website for that?
Yes, amtrakvacations.com.au. Is, there's a lot of material on there. We have a travel agent portal which has some resources, some brochures. There's a national parks guide by rail on there. Everything we have on the, in terms of resources on the .com.au site. What am I saying? You can find a lot more if you go on the US site. We work in Australian dollars. We have res staff based in Australia to work with you. However, if the .com.au website is a little bit more limited in what it has on it compared. So if you want to get like a lot more detail and information, it might be an idea to go just to the .com site as well.
No worries. Thanks, Chris. Similar to that, booking through the website or calling, what's the best way to do that?
We're a book by phone company. That's our modus operandi. It's the sort of system that works best. The bookings generally are being customized in some way. It's not really, not really conducive to be booked by a booking engine. So you call us and it's a one-on-one consultation with one of our inside sales rail experts, and they will put the itinerary together for you and give you an instant quote immediately after the res call. That's how we operate. Fantastic.
Thank you. Amber, one for you. This is an interesting question, because I actually think I have the same question, although the scenery is so amazing. I'm not sure that it matters, but one of the questions is it better to go east to west or west to east?
Look, it doesn't matter, to be very honest with you. I went Moab to Denver, which was great. You do spend more time in Colorado, and I think it depends what your guests are doing and what their itinerary is. So fortunately, because it does run eastbound and westbound and a couple of times a week, it's pretty flexible. But I think probably the best thing is really looking at what else your guests are doing and how the itinerary works in with what they're doing. Because again, Rocky Mountaineer is only 2 days and 1 night. It's all the extras that get added on. So we are a very small part of a bigger itinerary. But I don't think there's a better way. You're going to go, if it's going from Moab into Denver, then you're going from all of the red rocks and all of the rock formations into the Rocky Mountains. So you're going into the trees and the picturesque mountains. So it is a very different landscape as you travel, but equally beautiful, just different.
Yeah, great. Thank you. And on the same itinerary, Ronnie's asking if you're able to get a copy or a link of that video to use with clients.
Absolutely. I will follow up with everybody after the webinar, and I will attach the link to the video and just some collateral and bits and pieces as well. So yeah, and also I should have mentioned that there's some industry rates as well if anyone's going to be up in the US. So I'll add that all to the recap at the end.
Fantastic. Thank you. Chris, phone number, best phone number that New Zealand agents can also use.
We don't have a separate dedicated number for New Zealand agents. I'm not sure if from New Zealand, like to the Australian toll-free numbers apply. This, like in, in North America, we can usually call a US toll-free number from Canada and it would still work. Would it be the same in Australasia?
It's a good question. I'm not sure. Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rachel. No, New Zealand can't call Aussie toll-free. So there you go.
Do you know what? I'm going to find out about that because I'm not 100% sure. What the best. I think probably it's going to be, giving you just the non sort of toll-free version of the phone number.
No worries. Quite a few are asking for that actual toll-free number. So if you wouldn't mind just mentioning that now, that would be terrific.
Well, what I've said in the chat, and I think the same applies to Amber as well, for everybody, is that we will follow up with an email to everybody on the webinar. In fact, everybody who registered for the webinar, providing all of the information about how to reach us and how to book and all that.
No worries. Terrific. Well, thank you, guys. That's all the questions that we had listed. Last thing from me, giving you the heads up for our next webinar. So we've got Viking Cruises talk about cruise options, same time for Aussies and noon for the Kiwis. So that is July the 27th. And there'll be obviously notices going out about that fairly soon. But we're not done yet. Okay, it's quiz time. So hopefully everybody is familiar with Kahoot.